Oh, Mike McCarthy is doing a press conference. And although yesterday's pregame press conference
sucked,
we thought sucked, maybe we'll try and pull it up here and just see what he's got. And if he's got nothing.
He's probably got nothing.
I want to say one more thing.
By the way, he is in camp shape. It's been every year now.
He kind of looks good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get close to him.
Well, I was really close. And now we all know what happens by around the Thanksgiving game. Like to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But right now he looks good. Him and Zeke, best shape of their lives.
Excellent. Well, no one's saying that about Zeke. And
no.
From what I hear, like yesterday, even during the game, he looked exhausted.
He was definitely exhausted. He is skinnier. Dude, the fumble.
Well,
you want me to get into that?
Yes.
Okay, so I went down to the field into the VIP area, which you can get into with media. I brought someone with me who I would call my producer. And so we were really close to the field. I mean, you're feet away, which was cool because it was the Rams and the Cowboys doing full 11-on-11s. It wasn't just like you're watching one-on-ones or drills. And I was stunned because I've never really been down there on that side during practice. I've always been back where the media are. There are, I don't know, probably a dozen, maybe 15 guys in the crowd within earshot of me, so there were probably many more throughout the whole stands. And they yell like they're at a Pee Wee football game or a junior high football game. Or I suppose people do this in high school too. And maybe it makes more sense out here because you can definitely hear it as opposed to in high school. I'd look up and my mom would be screaming and I'm like, I can't hear you. Like I'm on the field. But they will yell at them like, gotta have two hands on that thing, Zeke. 2 hands.
So they're yelling advice.
Take a lap. Take a lap. I swear to God, there was a guy yelling, take a lap. And they will yell at anybody. There was a couple drops, and they'll yell at them. They're like, push-ups. Push-ups. Push-ups.
Watch the ball
Ferguson.
all the way in.
Jake Ferguson jumped off sides. I heard the snap count, Ferguson. I'm like, dude, this is real?
What if that guy didn't say that, and then he jumps off sides like in a big game in Week 10?
Right. And that guy's like, what could have been?
Right. But since he did yell that might kind of get embedded in there somewhere.
It's extremely weird.
Jake Ferguson will hold his water.
And I will tell you, it wasn't just Cowboys fans because there were a ton of Rams fans here yesterday. A ton. And they were pretty vocal too. Now, the weirdest thing that's happening out here right now, much to Dan's delight, is Trey Lance sucks so bad, but the fan base loves him. Or a certain sect of the fan base. Usually it's the backup quarterback who's the most famous guy in town. In this case, we have a guy who finished second in the MVP voting last year, and the third-string quarterback who has never shown a thing is like the most popular guy in the stands. Because when they put him in with the twos, 3 or 4 people I heard yelling things like, it's Trey time. Trey time. And a guy was like, that's the future. And he was like elbowing his son. He's like, this is the future right here. And then he's terrible, dude. Like he can't compete like a basic quick flat route. I guess he can run, but in practice they don't really let the quarterback just straight take off too much. So if Dak has a lane, he'll almost always end up throwing it rather than tucking it. But, dude, he sucks. I'm sorry. It's not going to get better. And he's about to be up for a contract. But because he's like a physical freak and somehow people have decided Dak sucks, possibly including his own owner, Trey Lance is very, very popular because Cooper Rush is boring. Until they get Trey Lance and they're like, okay, Trey time.
I read an article this morning about the whole contract situation, and the guy was alleging that the Cowboys might actually, right now, because of what they've put themselves into now, they might be better off just letting Dak play out the year because now you've killed the dead money for the future and you've opened that up.
Yeah.
To be able to sign.
That makes sense.
The other guys. But the only problem with that is if Dak is perturbed enough that you allowed him to do that, to go ahead and let's just see what I can get as a free agent.
Yeah.
Because that might go $60 million a year, all guaranteed by some team.
Well, I don't think the 60 a year is in question at all. The percentage of guarantee we'll have to see, but yeah, I mean,
The same article was just talking about all three of the big contracts that we're looking at now. CD, obviously, we'll talk a little bit about that, but the whole Micah thing is, even though it's just his 4th year, they can give him an extension now. They've already locked it up for the 5th year.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know that because they did it with Zeke.
But, like, you actually, in theory, this author didn't write that, but I was thinking it afterwards, you might want to get him done now, because if you keep waiting and you wait 2 years for him, what's his price tag going to be?
30% more.
So why not get Micah done now? You've already found yourself in this situation with these other guys. The CeeDee situation to me is interesting, if we want to slide into that, just because obviously that was the big news coming out of after the game yesterday.
Yeah, nobody was really even talking about the reps against the Rams.
Was Jerry Jones said he's what was it? He just said no. He was asked, do you have a sense of urgency to get the CeeDee Lamb contract done?
Yeah.
He said no. Then he went on to just ramble a bit, but it was basically just no.
But wasn't the context, is there any urgency to get him done during the preseason? Wasn't it taken a little out of context?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
You still don't just say, I don't have any urgency to get it done.
Well, what's interesting is that I was interested in this. So Dak, apparently he had a press conference after the thing, like at the podium type thing.
Yeah.
No one asked him about that.
I know. I watched it.
Which is shocking. That should almost be question one. And, if there's only someone in the media that would go have access to these things that could go ask a question. Oh, wait. I guess I could have. But I didn't know what Jerry had said.
Honestly, just as a sidebar, I feel like if we went and started asking questions that were actually questions like that might stir things up a little bit, I believe it would have an overall negative impact on our show. Because I think right now we just need them to be like, these guys are fine, they're cool, and not like really ask us what we're doing.
Yeah, we're trying to fly under the radar.
Trying to fly under the radar as much as we can here.
But I didn't know what Jerry had said. I imagine though all the beat writers did.
Yeah, because, there's no video of it. It's not on DallasCowboys.com. It was the walk-off. It was an impromptu, he wasn't at the podium.
Are you talking about Jerry?
Yeah, Jerry's part. Dak was a scheduled thing. Yeah.
But then
So
Dak,
did he know? Yeah, I don't know.
During the walk-off, Dak, so what these people do is they go have a press conference. There's public questions asked, and that you have to say your name and your affiliation. That's a TAD rule. And
that would be the reason for you to go ask a question.
Just so I could Dan McDowell, dumbzone.
Yeah.
Dak. I'm Dan McDowell of the Dumb Zone.
A subsidiary of No Puppet Production.
That's right. No, but so they'll do a press conference,
which ends up on the website.
But then when they walk off the podium and start just slowly walking away to their room or wherever they're headed to next, all the beat writers will go walk right near them. And it's really another weird little mini moving press conference.
Yes.
To where apparently you can get new other info there. And it's just maddening. So Dak, since nobody asked him about it, says, hey, I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, but I have a sense of urgency for CeeDee to get here.
Yeah.
So he scolded the media for not asking me this question, and no one asked him the question in his walk-off either. CeeDee Lamb, of course, led the league last year with 135 catches. Damn.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that again this morning, I didn't realize it was that many.
Well, the coolest thing, if you pull up his list, I know you're going to go through him, his list of seasons, every single number has gone up.
Every year?
Every year.
So catches, yardage, touchdowns,
long catch. I'm pretty sure yak.
Finger sniffs.
Finger snips, yes.
Yeah.
He was an all-pro last year. He's, PFF ranked him, I think, 4. Might have been Tyreek, Jet, and Jamar, maybe. But he's legit. And I'm not saying that last year, after his third season where he broke out a little bit, he would have taken a discount, but I can promise you it would have been cheaper than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what you do.
Because they waited for everybody else to sign. And
they could have done Dak. They could have done
He could
CeeDee.
probably be 30 a year. Now it's going to be like 34, 35.
Yes. Yeah. And if they had done those things prior, they would be in a situation now where it wouldn't be a problem to try to do Dak.
Yeah, so
that's a tough thing about it. I mean, I would still take the chalk, honestly, that 2 years from now, all three of these guys are still Cowboys. But my point is, if you pretty much know that's what you want and that's how it's going to play out anyways, why would you pick the worst path to get there?
Right, and it just hurts the rest of your roster,
Sure.
as there is an actual pie,
Yeah.
and you could spend more on that if you weren't.
But, we never really talked about this, but there's a guy who used to do, I think he was blogging the boys for a while, but Joey Ickes, Ickes?
I've seen his
I
name.
think that's how you say his name. He's a great Cowboys follow. He did a deal this summer, or maybe it was back in spring, breaking down the difference between like being at or over the cap and cash spending. Because the salary cap, really, you can manipulate it, but you may be out of pocket more money from cash on hand at the time and not exactly know if that's going to provide a return. And for like the last 10 years, the Cowboys are one of the 5 cheapest teams in cash spending.
I think I saw that.
They're the
too,
most
yeah.
profitable entity in the whole world. But, they're also business owners. And to them, as he put it, they'd rather throw X million dollars at a new oil site that will provide them almost guaranteed return than they would part with cash on hand for players. So, I don't know. I mean, but it's a complete opposite approach of a team like Philadelphia. I've said this. If you ever want to just laugh, go look at Philadelphia's cap sheet and look at the cap hits of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Saquon now. They're nothing. Lane Johnson, tiny. It's like Jalen Hurts is like 2% of their cap this season. Dak's like 20. 25.
Yeah.
They've not done a great job
They
here.
got Hurts done a little early, right?
They did.
They got those guys done a little early.
They're very lucky.
Even though they had done that with Wentz and it blew up in their face. But
process, not results.
yes, that's the thing.
Yep.
The Cowboys do not live like that.
Yep.
They live like, oh, if this didn't work, and then I'm going to do it the opposite the next way. And Jerry, in his opening camp press conference, stated the inconsistency in the way they do things like this is their consistency. And you have to hand it to him.
That's very
He's right.
pointing at head.
Yeah,
black
like-
eye meme.
Like, oh, you say we do something different every year and we don't really have a plan? Well, that's got to be
That's
where
the
I
plan.
am. That's where we are. Like, do you have a $5 billion franchise? I don't think you do.
Man.
I guess this is working. What do you think about something Jerry has said in the past, or at least in his way, intimated that they are happy, not happy, but they're comfortable waiting because CeeDee's backups can get more opportunities now to show what they can do, and
I love that.
he is shielded from a potential injury by not being at camp.
Yep. No, I love that's very backwards engineering logic. I love it. He just cares about. They both care about the team so much.
Anyway, you know what we never said here? If everybody knows this. When Jerry said no to the a bit out of context, do you have urgency to get him in camp? He said no. That was tweeted right away by John Machota. And within seconds,
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb himself quote tweeted it with an LOL.
No, it's great.
And then within seconds, everybody picks that up, and it's a huge thing, and it's all over the internet, and things are happening, and pets' heads are falling off. And as we look at the dominoes all falling, preseason game 1 tickets at the worst seat in the house are $50 each. And who cares about the Chargers, who are a local team? Nobody's caring about that. No one's paying $6 for the best seat.
Yeah. It's wild.
And this is how things. This is the team you follow. This is the team you love.
Did you see the other controversy with CeeDee?
No.
Well, boys, he removed America's team from his Twitter bio. Safe to say he's gone.
Well, here's the thing about CeeDee and
Why didn't you
being
warn
gone.
me?
The Cowboys actually, they have some leverage in that CeeDee can't, if he sits out a year,
He just doesn't get paid.
he doesn't get paid and he doesn't accrue the 5th year, and they still own him. Like, they can just say,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
they can, the way the CBA is, you can, now he does, they don't have to, they can rescind their fines because this is his first contract, because that's another thing in the CBA. Like,
the second ones are, if you're holding out for your third contract,
Yeah.
they can't remove it.
they
Which I think is what happened to Zach Martin.
They have to do they mandatory fine you, and they cannot at the end of the negotiation say, don't worry about that. Well, they have.
Yeah, what they can do though is just put $500,000 more on your contract, and it's all the same. But yes,
it would be under the cap then.
That's true.
Whereas a
That's
fine
good
would
point.
not.
Yeah.
But yes, so this is maybe I'm sure some players done this in the past, or at least threatened to do it. That I'll sit out and then I'll be a free agent. You can't. So now the Cowboys would have to say we're fine not having 135 catches, 1,700 yards, 12 touchdowns. We somehow can replace that, which CeeDee knows they cannot. Now let's look back at Zeke's holdouts, where he's like, look, I just rushed for 1,300 yards. You certainly can't replace that, and they thought they couldn't either. So,
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean,
McCarthy's up now. You want to take a look?
let's see.
Let's just see if he's got anything.
Oh, man.
They get to go out in OTAs and, especially the way things are structured now, the 7-on-7s,
this
and so the
video of
perimeter guys
him
get to
is
show
deceiving.
what
He
they can
looks
do
very
there,
big.
have some success, and then you get into these practices.
Well, I'm
and,
telling you,
I would
you
love
get
one of
used
those
to who you're
shirts, though.
practicing, with
I want a
and the
long sleeve.
tendencies and so
With a
forth.
collar?
And then, maybe you have some.
That's
No.
not a good
level
look.
of success,
No,
but
not
now
the
to
collar. I
to
just
go
need a long
against,
sleeve
an
to
uncommon-
protect myself
uncommon
against this
opponent
hot
in
sun.
a competitive arena. So, this is definitely.
They look
one
lightweight.
of the practices that I know I'll look at a lot at. 'cause
Honestly,
I wanna see our
I have a
guys
buddy
compete
who,
against different guys.
when we go swimming, he's fairly fair-skinned, and he wears like a long sleeve, like fishing type shirt. And
Yeah.
after the first time you see it, you don't even want to make fun of him. You're like, oh,
Is
yeah.
it like a wetsuit
Mike,
look?
just as a
Kinda.
coach, how do you
Yeah.
look
Hey,
at
Sock.
what you see from the Rams? Do you look at things that's like maybe these are some things that you might want to concepts you might want to take or something like that, or
I feel like
do you
this is
just kind of view
yesterday's.
it as one side versus the other?
Yeah, we're not. I mean, this isn't really for.
This is yesterday's.
Yeah, I don't view this practice as that.
This
I
is
think-
yesterday's.
Whatever. Who cares?
Although
it's Friday.
I wonder, did Saad just ask the exact same question he asked yesterday?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't
Because
think
maybe
so.
it's a better follow-up question, but no.
Yeah, beforehand it'd be tough, but
Yeah.
no, I do think he looks thinner. You're just gonna have to get up close and personal to provide your assessment.
Okay, I'll see if I can get my arms around him.
I want to ride him.
I'll bet a lot of people do.
I want to hop up on his back and have him run me around the field like it's family day, which it was yesterday. Well, if it is, then he's answering the exact same question he was asked yesterday in the exact same way, which is possible.
Yeah.
Everything's a simulation. Don't you just want to hop up on his back?
I'll bet Jerry does.
Like I saw all those
I bet
kids out
Jerry
there playing
has.
around with NFL players yesterday, and I'm like, man, that'd be so cool.
Like, what's the game that Logan Roy made him play? Pigs on the floor? Or
Oh yeah, yeah.
do you think Jerry's ever made him do stuff like that?
Boar on the floor,
Boar on the floor.
possibly. I don't know if Jerry's ever made McCarthy do that, but I know Jerry has been involved in something very similar to that. Very Illuminati, lightly gay.
Like, Jerry has definitely just, with his money, paid people to do weird stuff.
That's not even a. There's 100%. 100%. I even saw a thread on Twitter last night of some lady who used to work
And they're doing all the little
at a
things.
bar, or some maybe hung out at a bar in
Great
Plano, like
example
Frisco
of
area,
he does
and she was tweeting
all
last
the
night
little
about
things,
how
all
like
the old
it
school,
was not uncommon for
you know,
Jerry to just like
approaches,
try to
you know,
force
he
his
doesn't,
tongue down
you know,
someone's
he
throat
doesn't
Oh, yeah.
stand
when he
any
was at the bar,
corners,
and it's
guys
just
got
like,
great work
well, it's
ethic.
Jerry being Jerry.
That's
I feel
Jerry.
like he really has good understanding. I mean, he's
We
been-
think this
he's
is
been in a room
today's.
two guys that love and respect them, and Cooper and Dak. I mean, they pour it out to them. So it's really cool when your room operates at that level. So I just like anything, you want to see one of your guys go have some success, because he's definitely put the work in.
Not what I saw yesterday.
He said that yesterday?
Coach,
No,
said,
I said
do you
it-
feel
he's
like
talking
the
about Trey
running
Lance.
backs are further ahead today than they were this time last year. As the running back room continues to kind of shape up, how do you see Rico Dowdle?
Yeah, I would say the running game is a little further ahead. If I said running backs, I meant the run game. But yeah, our running back room's a year older. Frankly, more experience. So
Can be
really
good,
love the
can be
young
bad.
guys. Rico is kind of picked up right where he left off. He runs so damn hard. I like his run style. The violence that he goes after.
All right, he's
with.
got nothing.
Yeah, I don't care about it.
He's got nothing.
I'm glad you
Let's-
said it.
Don't hurt me.